I have Firefox here, and if you remember, our dummy store, our fictional store is called boots4less.net. So as you can see here, I have a blank template using the My Style WooThemes template. Now we installed this on our last tutorial, but now we're ready to customize it. Like I mentioned before, this theme has a bunch of widget areas that we can utilize to start placing our different elements, such as our banner, for example, our feature products, different menus. We're gonna go ahead and also set up our main menu with the pages that we're gonna use, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So what I'll do is I'll open up a new tab and I'll log into the back end of my WordPress site. That way I can just switch between the front end, which is of course what your customer sees, and then the back end, which is what I'm going to be making changes to. So I'll just go ahead and open up a new tab here and go to the back end of my site. And I'm using the 1Password app, which I highly recommend you get if you are a web developer or web designer and have tons of accounts with lots and lots of passwords stored. There's no need to remember all these passwords. That's why the 1Password app has an add-on for Firefox that you can use, and that way you only use one master password, never have to worry about that again. But that's just if you're a web developer or designer. So okay, so here I am in the back end of my store. As you can see, I haven't changed anything since the last video that I made. It's still pretty much a fairly stock WordPress site, except for the products that I added, and we covered that in the previous lesson. So if you need to take a look at that, please visit the site and take a look at it so you can know what's going on. So alright, now with the My Style theme from WooThemes, we get an extra menu on the left side of our WordPress admin, and you can see it here. Now if I hover my mouse over this menu item, I get two options. One is for settings and one is for framework. So we're going to be using the settings menu item, which is where we're going to be making all the changes to this template, which is this is really nice from WooThemes. Just the ability to change all these things from one particular place. And in your template, this might not be the case necessarily, but there's going to be some common elements and common functionality aspects of WordPress that we're going to cover in this tutorial. And so no matter which template you're using, you're basically going to use some of these strategies to create or customize your particular template. Now, like I said, I strongly recommend you use WooThemes or a WooThemes approved template just to make your life easier. So let's go ahead and get started with the homepage. So as you can see here, I'm in the settings tab, and under settings there's some different submenu items. I will go ahead and go to homepage, click on that link, and then this will take me of course to the homepage settings. Now I have an option here that's called display a banner, so I will go ahead and check that. And if I scroll down, you can see I have a save changes button. So what happens if I click save changes? I will save those changes, and then I can go back to my front end of my site. As you can see here, I have my tab open. I'll just switch to that tab, and if I refresh the site or the front end of my store, you'll see that I have a new section here that appeared, which is the widget area for the banners. And as you can see here, it's not exactly a banner because we haven't uploaded one, but the My Style theme gives you the option, if you don't have any imagery or banner ready artwork that you can use, you can always just type in some text that you can kind of welcome your visitors to the site with. As you can see, let me just switch back to the back end. If you see here under banner headline, it says welcome to our store, and then the actual text, which is exactly what we're looking at on the front end of the site. Now, since I do have some artwork ready, I'm just gonna go ahead and upload that. So what I'll do first is I'm gonna delete this. I'll delete the banner headline and the actual text, and then I click on the upload button. I'll click on the upload files, or switch to the upload files tab, and then click on select files, and you should be comfortable already doing this. I'll navigate to my folder, and I believe it's banner 2. Select my file, click open. WordPress will upload that file. Remember, it's really important that we use alternate text for every single image that we upload or we use throughout the site. This is just for better SEO, which is a search engine optimization, of course, better Google rankings. So this is really crucial. Always make sure you type in an alternate text of what the image is. And you don't have to get too detailed. I just like to keep it simple. In this case, it's the boots banner. And then I'll just click the use image as feature image button, and bam, there we go. Now the image has been uploaded, so let's go ahead and actually see how that looks like. Click on save changes, and if I refresh my homepage again, I'll see that I have a beautiful banner now, right? And there's no more text. Now I have this nice banner that it kind of portrays right away what the story is all about, which is, of course, a boots store. So, by the way, this photograph, it's not mine, of course. It's full credit goes to Karen Harrison from Karen Harrison Photography. She's got some amazing work. So if you want to go check her out, her website is KarenHarrisonPhotography.com. All right. So moving on, we'll switch back to our backend, and we'll keep taking a look at some of these settings. Now, as you can see here, there's some more settings for displaying a sidebar on our homepage, which I don't want to do. And also display product categories, display feature products. Now these two I am going to check. I'll go ahead and display product categories on the homepage. So let's go ahead and save that. Now it's important for your users or your customers to be able to access your product categories easily. So that's why I think it's great to have your categories on the homepage in some sort of way, either through thumbnails or a special menu form. In this case, the template doesn't support an additional menu for product categories, so we'll do it through thumbnails. And as you can see here, I just refreshed the homepage. And now I have product categories, a product categories section, and I have all of my categories from WooCommerce being brought into this area. So for example, we got boys boots, digital goods, girls boots, men's boots, women's clothing, so on and so forth. Which is 7 categories, exactly the number of categories that I have. So obviously this doesn't look great because we don't have a featured we don't have a category thumbnail set yet, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. So let's go back for now to our settings, and then I also want to show my featured products on the home page. So I'll go ahead and check this, and then it shows me I have an extra option to say how many featured products I want to show, and I think 4 is the perfect number, so it'll just be one row of featured products. Now I also have the option to show recent products, so as you add more and more products to your store, these products can be shown on the front end. Unfortunately, you don't have that much control over which products you want to use, since of course the latest products that you add to your store, they'll be automatically pulled in by WordPress. So I like featured products because that way I can control exactly what's being shown on the front end of the store. That's why I choose to show this option. And then I'll go ahead and click Save Changes. And then we'll switch back and refresh. And look at that, I got featured products coming in, right? And so you're asking, maybe you're asking, where are these featured products coming from? How does WooCommerce or WordPress know, for this matter, how to show these particular products on the home page? And that's fairly easy. If you switch back to your backend and you go to the products menu item and then go to products. So right now I'm looking at all my product inventory. If you see this little star on this section, this is the featured star. So whenever I go ahead and click that star next to a particular item, I will toggle that. I will turn on that featured feature. So that will mean, for example, if I just click on this product for boys boots, the blue and orange, now the WordPress will refresh, and then you will get that star will be, colored in. So that lets me know that this is a featured product. As you can tell, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Got 5 featured products. Some of these with the hollow stars are not featured. So if I would go to the back end or back to the front end of my site and refresh that home page, I can now see, actually if I had more than 4 featured products showing, it would bring that as well. So actually let me just show you that. If I go back to the settings under my style, under the my style theme, go back to home page, and if I say instead of 4 I want to display 5 featured products, we'll switch back. See, we now have 5 featured products showing, right? Which are exactly the ones that we have on the front or on the back end with the stars. So we go back to products, and every single one of these that has a star on it are now showing on the back end, on the front end. So let's say I wanted to make this particular pair of boots unfeatured. I'll just toggle it again. As you can see, the system is refreshing, and then I switch back to the front end, and this pair of boots will disappear once I refresh my page. Bam, there we go. So I like 4 featured products. I just like to make a nice row. I think that looks great. So now I'll focus on the product categories. So what I'll do is I'll set a thumbnail for each one of these. So I'll go back to my backend, and under WooCommerce you will look for the categories menu. Now under categories, let's say I want men's clothing. So I'll click on men's clothing and scroll, and well, now you're editing the product category info, such as the name. Maybe if you have a description, you can type it in here, but what we want is the thumbnail. And from here I'll just upload, or click on the upload add image button, and I don't have to upload any new images. I'll just use one of the existing ones from one of my existing products. So I'll click on this particular item, which is a jacket, type in an alternate text, and set my featured image. Now I'll go ahead and click update. And then we'll switch back. And boom, there we go. Now we got a nice thumbnail to represent the men's clothing category. So I'll go ahead and do this for the rest of these categories, and we will resume the tutorial in just 1 minute. Alright, so here we are, we're back, and now I have set all my product categories to look great, and as you can see here, I have a thumbnail for each one of them, so everything is looking really sharp. Now, of course, I have my featured product section. Now I have my category section, right? So what happens when you actually click on a category? Like, let's say if I click on men's boots. Now I'll be looking at all the products under that particular category. So for example, I only got 5 items under that category, and as you can see here on the left side of my screen, I have a sidebar where I can select, or I can switch to another category easily, and this is what I recommend for you to do as well, especially if you live in a country that reads from left to right. I think it works better when you have your product categories set on a sidebar on the left side, or well, unless you have a special menu at the very top, like for example here. But a sidebar, a left sidebar, all that, from my personal experience, I found out it works really well. Just people are kind of used to seeing that sidebar on the left side instead of the right side for navigation on e-commerce stores, for example, like Amazon, being one example. So for example, I can change to women's clothing really easily, go back to boys boots, so on and so forth. Now, how did I set up this sidebar? I actually made some changes to the back end, and we'll cover that. So let's go back to our back end, and then we'll go to appearance, widgets, and this is where you can actually change the widgets and change what elements appear where. Now, as you can see here, I have quite a few sections, or these blocks, that you can actually click. They have a drop down arrow, you can click on them and can switch them up and change the options within them. For example, this particular widget is the WooCommerce product categories widget, which does exactly what its name describes. It just shows all your product categories. Here I can change the heading of that particular widget. So for example, I can just say, if I just wanted to say categories, I could just type that in, click save, and if I switch back to my site, now it will just show me categories as the headline for that widget. So it makes sense, right? Now what we'll do is, you probably don't have this widget already set up, so I'll go ahead and delete that. But you probably have some like this under your primary sidebar. The recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories, and meta. And like I explained in a previous lesson, WordPress was built with blogging in mind, so that's why you have some of this stuff. In our case, we're not gonna need that since we're building WordPress for e-commerce purposes. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete these, and you can always bring them back. You can always just, for example, just drag and drop your widgets from the left side under the available widget section. So it's not like you're really deleting them, you're just removing them from that particular widget area. So as you can see here, I'm just clicking the drop down menu and then clicking the delete button. Alright, cool. So now that my primary sidebar is empty, I'll go look again for my WooCommerce categories widget, which is right here. I click on it and I'll drag it up, and bam, I'll just drop it in there. Now I also want to add maybe a few more, like a price filter. I'll do the same thing so people can look for products based on the price. Let's say if this was they were looking for a gift for somebody and they knew how much they wanted to spend, this would be a great way to just filter through a lot of products. And maybe I'll add one more. The WooCommerce recently viewed products widget, so they can just always switch back to a product that they just recently viewed, obviously, on this store if they can't find it for some reason, or they just want to switch back to it really quick. And in this case, instead of 10, I'll just say maybe show me 3. So you can see here under every widget you'll have some options depending on the widget that you're using. So in the product categories, I can show the product categories as a drop down, show post counts, which means the little number next to the category, but I think I like it the way it is. So if I switch back to my front end, now you can see here what we got. We got the product categories and we got the filter by price, so just pretty nifty. Let's say if I wanted to take a look at men's boots and I just wanted to spend $100 tops, I can just click and drag this filter and say, I drop the filter once it reaches 100, then filter, and then it'll just show me 2 items, right? The 2 that are under $100. So pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, for the recently viewed items, that widget is not going to appear until I actually go and take a look at one product. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this product. Men's Twisted X cowboy boots. You can see here that the My Style WooCommerce theme is really nice for displaying products as well. You can just add a quantity really easy, then add to cart. You get the little dialog box that says this item has been added to cart, and from this point on you can go and view your cart. So that's awesome. You have your product description under the first tab, and then the reviews under the second tab. Of course, you can always turn off reviews from the WooCommerce settings if you want to, and we covered that in the previous lesson. So, and at the very bottom you do get the related products widget just for cross-selling abilities. So if somebody's looking at a particular product and there's another product that may be similar that you have tagged as a similar product, and we also covered this in the past when we added a product and typed in tags, this is how WordPress is gonna try to bring in products that are related, right? So what we'll do now is we have a sidebar here, we have our products. Now this particular section is called the breadcrumbs. So what we're gonna do is, if you don't have breadcrumbs showing, which I think it's a great option to let your users navigate through your e-commerce store. Make sure you go to your My Style settings, and then I believe that option is under, there we go, almost at the bottom under display breadcrumbs. So I have that checked, I have that option turned on. That's why I can see the breadcrumbs on my e-commerce store. That's up to you, of course. Like I said, I think it's a really great way to let users navigate through categories and products. So for example, I can always go back and take a look at all my products in the product grid. As you can see here, I'm in the shop page. The shop page is showing me everything that I have on my store, and it's the same thing as if I go and click here. So whether I click here or I click on my breadcrumbs, I can get back to my shop page, right? So for example, I'm in the home page. If I click shop, I'm not going into any particular category, I'm just looking at all of my products in one, and all mixed together. And of course, if I had more than this, you start getting different pages, so you can jump from first page to second, so on and so forth. So okay, so that's, now our store is looking a little bit better. Now of course we still need to replace this menu, this main menu, since this is just the default menu from WooCommerce and Wordpress, just bringing the sample page that gets installed with your site, and the cart and checkout in my account. Actually, some of these are actually really useful, like checkout, the checkout page, the cart page, but the My Style theme already comes with links to these, such as at the very top. As you can see here, the checkout, the cart page. If I click here, it will take me to my cart. So I'll go ahead and remove those because it's kind of pointless to have them so close to each other, and especially I need to include other links to important pages such as the About page, a contact page, so customers can contact you, and you can put all your information there, as well as if I want to include any product categories, I can always do that as well. So first, let's go back to our home page and let's take one final look at it. Okay, so one more thing on the home page, and this is something that will repeat throughout the website. It's the footer widgets. So if you actually switch back to the back end, we go back to widgets menu. See, we have 4 different places to put widgets on, and you can use this to put let's say your customer service phone number or an additional menu. So we'll do that in a bit, but I just wanted to show you this real quick. So let's just say I want to add my phone number here. What I'll do is I'll select the text widget, and I'll drop in my footer, and then I'll give this a heading. And then I'll type in a description or a little small message for customers that want to get in touch before purchasing any product or item from the store. and then I'll click the automatically add paragraphs checkbox to make sure I get a break from these two lines. Otherwise, they'll be all right next to each other. And then I click save. And if I go back to my site, refresh it again, you'll see that I got a brand new section with the contact us widget. Right, so we have 4 spots for different widgets at the bottom. Like I said, you can have a form, a contact form that people can submit from right within your footer. Maybe your social links, which is another great widget that's actually built into my style. So as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that as well. I'll show you that setting. So we'll go back to my style settings. Then that setting is under subscribe and connect. And then we can scroll down here and we can type in our links to our sites, our social media sites. So for example, here you type in http semicolon twitter.com, then slash and your username, right? So this should be fairly easy. Same thing for Facebook, YouTube. So now I can just save changes. If I switch back. Now, okay, before I switch back, I have those links, but I now need to place those icons. So that's going to be through widgets as well. So I'll go switch back to widgets. And let's say I want to place this on the second footer section. So I'll go and look for the subscribe connect. There we go. Drag it up top and drop it in there. Refresh. And boom, there we go. That is looking great. So now I have links to my social media sites. So if I click on one of these links, it will take me to my page, for example, YouTube or Twitter. And the RSS feed will be created as well for you. So if people want to keep up with your site, whenever you get new products or you add new products, or let's say you have a blog and you post some news about your company, they can subscribe to that RSS feed through the RSS reader. So alright, so now we'll go ahead and move on. No, that's not what I want. Alright, so okay, so we covered the homepage, and the homepage is looking great. Now, of course, we are forgetting one very important thing, which is the logo. So we'll switch back, go back to my style, to your settings, and in the under general settings you have a option for custom logo. So what we'll do here is we're gonna first of all uncheck the text, title, and site description, because that's what we're using right now. So of course you get the option of using a logo, or if you don't have a image for a logo, you can use just text. But since we do have a logo, we'll uncheck these two and then we'll click on upload. Go to my folder and select my logo. Looks like I uploaded the the wrong logo. So let's see here. Where is my logo? Is it? Nope. There we go. Boots logo. And this is really, if you can, try to upload a PNG file for your logo, which of course a PNG gives you the benefit of having a transparent background. Now in my case, it probably wouldn't matter too much if I have a white background because it would just blend in. But if I do have a PNG logo, and at some point in the future I decide to change the colors, it would just look that much better. You've probably seen this where you have a logo and the colors in the background don't match, and you have the logo with the big ugly white square around it. So that's the difference. If you had that same image with a clear background and saved as a PNG, you wouldn't have that problem. So I'll just go ahead and use that image as my logo, and I'll save changes, then refresh. Alright, so that's more like it. Now I have a logo, and of course within the logo I also included the tagline for the store, just something simple that conveys the message of the store and your selling proposition across, right? So in my case, this is brand name. It's brand name boots at closeout prices. Makes sense. Now, if you don't have access, now I just wanted to mention this real quick. If you don't have access to an image editor such as Photoshop, which is what I use to create this logo and this banner, to place the tagline for the banner, I would recommend you check out this app called Pixlr, and the URL is pixlr.com. It's a free web app. I'm really impressed with the capabilities that this app has. It's so much like Photoshop, but it's completely free. And I have no idea how these guys built this app, but it works fantastic. Let's see here. Oh, I need an update. I just closed that for now. So it works so much like Photoshop. You don't have to spend that much, the licensing for Photoshop, or have to get a subscription to the cloud-based Adobe suite or anything like that. If you just want to make something nice and simple just to get you started, try out this app. If you do know a little bit of Photoshop, you will feel right at home. I mean, if you ever worked with Photoshop before, you can see here we got the tools on the left side, the canvas, the layers. It's crazy. Yeah, so check that out. But anyways, I digress. Going back to our site, everything's looking good. So what we'll tackle next will be the menus, and we'll be making a few changes to our site, such as we'll include our contact information, and we'll clean up everything a little bit. But this video is a little bit long already, so we'll stop here and continue on the next one. Alright guys, so I'll see you then. If you got any questions, please comment below, or if you want to know more, want to find out more lessons or e-commerce courses, please visit the site at